Yeah, it was a great road score. It was our best, in my opinion, top to bottom. It was our best performance to date. We'd had meets where we had an event or two that landed really well or did something extraordinary, but from a top to bottom four event performance, forget the score, just the performance was, in my opinion, the best executed meet we've had all year, and so that was really reassuring. We got used to the podium a little bit, got on the podium and felt the format again for the 14 meet, which is a little different. So I think it checked all the boxes for us in terms of what we want this time of year, getting an away score, getting on the podium, being able to perform at a very high level, and then, not having to travel and very far, and just being able to sleep in our own beds and all the things in terms of recovery this time of year. Those are important as well. So all in all, just a very, very productive weekend. Got exactly out of it what we wanted, what we had hoped.
You hear Sierra talk about the term casual, right?
Yeah.
It's got to make you feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, the word casual to me means a little something different, but I understand the sentiment of what she's trying to say is that they feel comfortable, they feel confident, they feel normal. Those are the things that you want to hear from them, and they're demonstrating that. They have demonstrated that over the last 4 or 5 meets in a row. Doesn't mean we've been mistake-free in every instance, but there's a calm confidence in the room when we have our team meetings and everybody gets a chance to say what they want to say. And you ask Sierra what something she says. She has something different every time. There are those that kind of repeat their same thing, but we try to give them all an opportunity to speak before we go out on the floor. And Sierra usually has something that she's thought about. And but in general, the air has been one of, we don't need to say a whole lot. We feel good. They're exuding a lot of confidence right now, and so that's a comfortable, as a coach, that's a comfortable place to be. If you hear a lot of chatter, sometimes that can be a negative because that's a lot of nervous energy.
What's going to be going through your head on Friday, senior night, when those ladies take the floor in their last home meet?
Well, I think it's such a weird spot, especially the last couple of years, but this year in particular, we've got a group of 6th years, a group of 5th years, a group of 4th years, and so it's a little different. I suspect we're saying farewell to some and maybe not to others, and so it's a mixed bag. I tell our team every year we're going to celebrate our seniors. We're not here to eulogize them or to have a funeral or to put a whole lot of emotion. We still have business to take care of. We need to go out on the floor and compete at a high level and continue this momentum that we have as we move towards the postseason. But at the same time, every year is different, and you learn as a coach. If you're paying attention to what you're doing, you probably learn more from over the course of 4 years from your athletes than they learn from you in many cases. Like you continue to try and evolve as a coach and get better in terms of how you relate to different people and different personality types, and this group's no different. I have such a great appreciation and great affection for each one of them as people first, and then the contributions that they've all made are not always in a score box, and they're not always questions that you guys want to ask about, but there's so much that behind the scenes that adds to who we are as a team, and each and every one of them has played just a very significant role in our identity and in the chemistry and in the whatever legacy this team leaves. They've all been a huge part of that. So I'll just look forward to it. Look forward to celebrating them, getting in front of our fans, let them hear how much they appreciate them, and get out there and have a great meet.
2 things. I'm going to need you to tell me who you know for sure is not coming back. But then the 2 girls that were here today, they worked very hard during the off season to have their year that they're having.
No doubt.
And to see it be paying off for them, I guess. Is this their best year?
Yeah, I think so in many ways. I think, in Olivia's case, as a freshman, she was an All-American on bars and did a little more even than she's been able to do this year. But in terms of where her every team's different, so you don't ever know. There's not the role doesn't stay the same or is guaranteed to grow every year in terms of what's visible. But in her case, she's done the best job, and you heard her say it, of finding that balance, and I don't think it was about desire for her or lack of or anything like that. This was uncharted territory, and this whole NIL phenomenon, of which she was certainly the leading edge of that for all women in collegiate sports, and learning how to balance that. You heard her say it. I think she has a better handle on that and has done a great job and has been much more just emotionally grounded and stable, and did a great job physically, as you mentioned to her when she was in here preparing for the year. And I think Friday night's a great example. When she's gone in, she's delivered. She went 9.875 on bars Friday night, and she went that or 9.9 on floor. So she's dependable, and her role has sort of become utilitarian a little bit in terms of going in when we need her to. But how many great basketball teams have a great sixth man, or how many great baseball teams have that utility player that can play multiple positions and go in when they need to, whether it be because of injury or rest or whatever the case may be. So I think she's done an exceptional job of handling and embracing that role. And then Sierra, clearly has had, an amazing year and put herself in a great place mentally and physically all last summer to come back and be able to produce. And for a large part of this season was the first up on both floor and beam. And so just proud of both of them. I think they're, we talk a lot about Haley and we talk a lot about everybody. And I understand all that. That's the nature of the beast. But the two in here today and many others are no less important to our success, and I'm just proud of all of them. That's why we want to get them in here in front of y'all. Who's coming back? I don't really want to speak to that right now. I mean, there's the 6 years obviously are not. Theoretically, Kaya could come back because she had a red shirt that year. She could tack onto that. Alona can come back. Olivia and Sierra and Chase and Elena, everybody, all those guys can. Will they? I don't know, because again, you heard them, my mind's in the same place. Let's finish this year and then let's have those conversations. Of course, Haley is in that class too, so we'll have those conversations at the appropriate time. It's just not something, we've mentioned it on and off, just in our individual meetings, but it's not something I've pressed on or tried to get an answer of before it's appropriate. They need to finish this year, see how their bodies feel, take kind of an internal assessment of what comes next for them, and then we'll discuss it together and arrive at a decision. But it's a little premature for me to be speculating on all that. Any of them that can come back, that want to come back, I want them back. So they're certainly not. I want to make it clear to them that they're welcome here. To finish out and do whatever they want to do, and we'll do everything we can to make it work. And in many cases, scholarships are gone, and so they've got to assess whether they can make it financially viable through NIL or other avenues to whether or not they can. It's worth it.
You didn't mention Cami Hall. This will be your final.
She's a sixth year,
okay.
So she's out. I guess this is it. I don't think she has another eligibility.
I'm curious with this meet. You kind of have all the scores you need, more or less, and how do you kind of approach the lineup and your mindset heading into it?
Well, you want to do things that, I think we want to have some opportunity. We can do exhibitions this week because we're not on linear TV, and that's a good thing. So we want to do some things to try and honor the seniors and give them an opportunity to get out there, but also we want to utilize those exhibitions. We want to utilize this lineup. We certainly don't want to just sabotage and blow everything up because it's senior night, but we want to put an effective lineup out there, and at the same time try to give as many seniors as we can an opportunity to showcase themselves on this last opportunity in the PMAC. And some of that might be through exhibitions, some of it may be in lineup, but at the same time, we want to get out there and maintain the momentum, if not move it forward as we go into the postseason. So it's kind of multifaceted there. You got to weigh all those variables and come up with your decisions.
And Cammie Hall, can she perform? Could she do
Yeah.
something? And Elena Arenas, are we ever going to see her this year? Or probably?
Elena's back has just been something that we never could get resolved, and I don't really have any great detail on that, except that it's been an ongoing thing. She's been battling back issues for many years, and I know it's been frustrating and everything for her, but I think she's kind of at peace with where she's at, and as far as Cammie goes, Cammie is just now gotten to where she's doing a floor routine in the diagonals on the hard floor without a spot, so there's a chance you see her do a floor set. And on vault, she's in the mix. It's just we just haven't been able to find an opportunity to get her out there. A lot of that's just due to we got a lot of people that haven't vaulted yet. That they're and most of them, if they're not getting in there, it centers around whether or not they're as consistent or as others. And so she's landing her vault more consistently now, and there's a good chance you see her do both those events this weekend.
We'll wrap up right here.
I know you guys have been rambling all season long about Haley and what she's meant to this club, but do you even have any words
No.
at this point?
No, I mean it stands on its own. Her record is ridiculous and amazing, and me trying to describe it is so repetitive and copy paste every time I come in here. It's like no, Haley is incredible, and so is Kaya, and so is Aaliyah, and so is KJ, and so is Sierra, and so is Olivia, and I can go through the whole list. All the way through. Haley deservedly gets the press clippings. Haley deserves everything she gets. But it's not my job to promote. And she's promoted herself. She's incredible at every aspect of everything she does and the person that she is. Mic drop, enough said. I don't know what else we can say without running the risk of over speaking, and that's my guard. Look, I think the absolute world of every one of these kids on this team, and Haley Bryant obviously is our leader. She has been the most spectacular performer maybe in the history of LSU, and certainly one in collegiate gymnastics. There is no way I would take anything away from her, but she would sit here and say the same thing I'm saying now. It's about her teammates too, and it's about everybody that helps put her in the position to be successful. And her record will stand for itself, and history is going to remember her as one of, if not the greatest to ever do it at this level. And there's just not a lot more to add to that. I've said all of that at least 10 or 15 times. I'll continue to say it if you guys keep asking the question. But at some point it becomes kind of a stupid question, if you ask me. I mean, I'm not trying to be critical. I just think at some point it's like, let's find another angle, because there's so much more to this team than one person, and I don't care whether it's Haley or anybody else. This is a team through and through. They are 100% committed to each other. They are 100% invested in one another. They embrace their roles. They appreciate everything about each other, and certainly Haley is at the top. She's at the tip of the spear. But she would tell you, just like I am, it's about all of them. Cranky today, aren't I?
She kind of cats. Said, is she kind to cats?
Can't hear you.
Is she kind to cats?
That's,
Excuse me.
she's nice to animals and children?
Oh, yes, yes. Haley's, yeah, she's perfect.
I did have one last Olivia.
Sure.
I'm thinking of Russell Wilson, who's just leaving the Denver Broncos, and they said he had an office away from the team locker room. And, you know, not what you want for team culture.
No.
Anyway, Olivia seems like she wants to be in that team culture, right? I think
Yeah.
you said that last year, and all her stuff could be a problem.
it has been.
But just talk to me about the team dynamic with her.
It goes along with what I just said when we were discussing Haley and the whole team. Olivia's part of that. Olivia's part of that equation. If she doesn't adopt that attitude of being part of the team, just being one of the team, then we have a problem on our hands. It could go that way with any of them. And that's my point in being as bristly as I am about this, is that it's a real thing. It's not just, we're not up here blowing smoke. It's a real thing for these guys, and they care about each other. And Liv's a great teammate, and you know, all this stuff that has gone on with NIL, it could have infected or destroyed, and maybe it has hurt other teams, you know, in other places. I don't know, but to Liv's credit, to everyone on our team's credit, there's times when it's, you know, the national exposure over it, you know, could be a distraction if you let it, but it really hasn't been. We don't, you know, I say this all the time, kind of half tongue-in-cheek, half joking. We don't call her Livy. That's another person. You know, we don't. It's Olivia or Liv. It's not. I mean, she's when she's in that gym, she's a gymnast. I'm her coach. Her teammates are her teammates. She's a student at LSU. She's all of those things. Everything that social media and the internet, you know, perceives is not part of our day-to-day interactions. And so, and that's really to her credit. She wants to be part of this team and to be successful, and for her teammates to be successful. And you know, I think the character of this team is impeccable and tremendous on a lot of levels. Whether it's talking about Haley and all the accolades, or Liv and all the fame and NIL and all the things, they do a great job of understanding and being respectful and courteous of each other, and I'm proud of them. You know, I'm proud of this whole group, regardless of what happens going forward. This has been a fun group to coach.